Stampers. Today we're going to do a little fall card, and I just think this is so cute. I love these little pumpkins and little gourds, and the weather's finally starting to get nice here in Arizona. So anyway, so I'll show you how we went ahead and did this. First thing that we used is a card stock, which is called Crumb Cake. And it's also known as Craft. This is this new Stampin' Up! Colors name. And we cut it 8.5 by 5.5. And then I just scored it down the center. And I used my bone folder to get a nice crease in it. The next piece of paper that we cut was, this is called, it's a designer series paper. It's in the In color. And it's called the Peach Parfait one. This is the color that it is. And on the back there's also another design, but we're going to use the Polka Dot Peach Parfait today. And this was cut 4 3/4 inches by 3 3/4 inches. And the other piece of paper that we're going to use is Basic Black. This is cut about 4 1/4 inches by 3 1/4 inches. So let's get started. So first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and adhere our Peach Parfait designer series paper to the crumb cake using our snail adhesive. So we're going to set this about in the center here. Then we're going to take a piece of black, basic black scrap paper, and we're going to be cutting out or punching out. This is called picture corners, corner punch. So we're going to go ahead and, photo corners, excuse me. We're going to go ahead and punch that out. And we actually are just going to use the small one. Okay, so we'll keep this one for another project in the future. And we're going to set the photo corner right on the edge here on the upper left-hand side. So we're going to go ahead and use the snail adhesive and adhere that down already. Then we're going to take the basic black that we've cut, and we're going to go ahead and adhere that, and I'm just going to use snail on that also. And we're going to go ahead and set it on the Peach Parfait paper, and we're just going to let a little bit of that paper show through up in the corner there. And what's great about the polka dot paper is you can line it up pretty evenly because you're lining it up right with the polka dot, so I love that. Anyways, so now we're going to set this aside for just a few minutes. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start creating our wagon. So we're going to take a piece of real red cardstock, and we're going to go ahead and stamp our wagon onto it. And this wagon is from the More Monkey Accessories, which is this stamp kit here, and I've got the clear one. They also come in wood. And this is actually from the Sock Monkey accessories, but this is the other stamping kit from that. So we're going to go ahead and stamp our wagon onto the paper here, the real red, using StazOn Jet Black. And I like the StazOn for this project because we are going to be coloring it in, and it just seems like it colors in a little bit nicer, stays more black, I guess I want to say, than using the regular black. Plus I love the way it smells. Anyway, so by using the clear stamps, we're able to see pretty readily where our little wagon needs to go. So we're going to go ahead and punch that, or stamp that, excuse me. So now we've got that stamped out. And what we're going to do next is we're going to take a little sponge and some more Stampin' Ink. This is called Crumb Cake. And we're going to go ahead and just kind of lightly sponge over this, just to give it a little bit more of a faded or a used look. We don't want the red to be such a brilliant red. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And you can see it's a little bit more faded looking now. And we're going to go ahead and cut this out with just a pair of scissors. And by the magic of movies, voila! I'm sure it will take a little bit longer than that in reality, but anyways, here we go. And now we've got our wagon all cut out. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start creating our pumpkins. So we're going to be using a set, and this one is called Autumn Harvest, which is awesome because it has a large pumpkin, it has a small pumpkin, a gourd, a little face for the big pumpkin, an acorn, and a leaf. So we're going to use 3 of the stamps out of this particular set. Again, we're going to be using the StazOn Jet Black. And we're going to go ahead and start stamping in black on our Whisper White cardstock. And you can use just bits and pieces. That way you use up some of your little scrap materials. I did 2 leaves, I did a couple of gourds, and I also did one of the medium-sized pumpkin that's on there. So we're going to go ahead and just do that. Okay. And then we're going to go ahead and start coloring this in. And what I've used is, these are called Watercolor Wonders. And the colors that I've used are Pumpkin Pie, Daffodil Delight, Garden Green, Chocolate Chip, and Riding Hood Red. So those are the colors that we're actually going to be using for this particular color in. So I'm going to just kind of show you how to do the large pumpkin, and then we'll go from there. So on this pumpkin, what we're going to be using is I'm actually going to be using the Daffodil Delight, and I kind of just put it in the center here, kind of do it lightly. And then we're also going to take the Pumpkin Pie, and we're going to kind of go around the outside of the pumpkin with this. I'm going to take our Chocolate Chip and do the stem, and just kind of give it a little bit of shadowing. And we're going to take a blender pen, and these are the blender pens. There's 2 tips on both of them, so just so you know. And we're going to start blending this in, and all you really have to do is, this is already moistened, so you're just going to go ahead and kind of start working this color in to the white cardstock. And you can make this as dark or light as you wish. But you can kind of see how it almost gives it a watercolor effect, which is so neat because I don't know how to paint, and this is just so cool. And as you're doing this, you can take a little scrap paper, and as you're getting into the lighter colors, you might want to kind of rub your blender pen on a piece of paper, just a piece of scrap, and that just gets that excess color off so you can go into the lighter colors without making them too dark. And that's all you need to do. And that's how you clean your pen, by the way. You just kind of put it on a piece of scrap paper. So then we're going to go ahead and cut this pumpkin out, and we'll go ahead and color the rest of them in. But just for time's sake, I won't be coloring them in. But just to give you an idea, that's what we basically did. And I used the green on the end of the leaves here, just so you kind of know what I use the garden green for. And you can also put it in the center here and use that. And then go ahead and color in the rest of the leaf. But I just wanted to give you an idea of how we did that. So we're going to go ahead and cut out all these parts. And voila, it is magic once again. And here are our little pieces all done and cut out. Okay. So next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take our little wagon, and we're going to finish this up. We're going to punch a couple little holes in here using our matte pack. And that's just kind of a hard foam type thing. And we're going to set that down here. And we don't really need to have the grid, but sometimes it's nice just to kind of get things more even. But you certainly can just eyeball this project. We're going to punch a couple little holes into the wheels, like little hubcaps. And we're going to be using 2 of the silver brads. And these are 5 1/16 inches. And we're going to go ahead and put those brads in just to kind of make this look like a real little wagon. So we'll put those in already. And close those up on the back. Alright, there we go. So that's how we got that. And then we're going to go ahead and start getting the rest of the card together. So now all you have to do is adhere the wagon to the black cardstock. So we'll go ahead and do that. And to adhere this, because we've got the brads on the back, we want to use some Stampin' Dimensionals. So that'll just kind of pick it up off the card a little bit. And we'll probably use about 4 of these. And these have some sticky adhesive on the back and backing paper on the other side. So we're just going to go ahead and pull off that backing paper real quickly. And we're going to set this down, up towards the bottom of the card a little bit, because you want to have some space for our pumpkins and our leaves. That'll set down nicely. Then for the large pumpkin, what I did is I used I used the snail for this to put it down flat, and I kind of centered that first, and then I put the things around it, the rest of the leaves and the gourds around it. But that just kind of gives us an idea of where the rest of the pieces are going to be going. And then for a leaf, we're going to go ahead and use another Stampin' Dimensional, again to give it a little bit of height. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of stick that right in there. And you can actually put it on top of the handle if you wish. And then we'll put a gourd in, and we'll just use some snail for that. And then we'll put another gourd in, and for this one we're going to use the Stampin' Dimensional, again, just to give it some 3D effect. Okay, and we'll go ahead and stick that in here. And then we'll also put another leaf in there, and we'll put a Stampin' Dimensional on that. And we'll kind of stick that right in here. So you can kind of just decide what would be best for you and the way you would like to see the card. But that's how I did that. Then we're going to put a little tag on our pumpkin here. And I'll show you how to do that. What we're going to be using is we're going to be using something called linen thread. And this is a pretty thin type of a twine that Stampin' Up! Sells, and this works really great. And I'll show you a little trick with this. What we're going to use is our hole piercer, the one that we use to make our holes for our brads. I'm going to put the cap back on that. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to wrap the twine around this, or the linen thread around this, a couple of times. And we're going to just tie it, but we're not going to form a knot yet. Just going to tie it, so you've got it like this. The next thing you're going to do is kind of pull it off, and you'll see that what you have is a little circle here. Okay? We're going to set this aside just for a minute because we're going to make the tag, because I want to show you how you do that. For the tag, we're going to be using, again, Real Red and our Jet Black StazOn. And we're going to go ahead and stamp that with the stamp set, which is called Tiny Tags. So in that stamp set, there's a tag called Thanks So Much, kind of appropriate for the season. And we're going to go ahead and stamp that on the Real Red. Okay, can you see it's very tiny? Okay. Now the next thing we're going to use is something called a jewelry tag punch. And we're going to go ahead and put that punch in here like this. Actually, what we'll do is we'll make this a little smaller so we can work around this a little better. Because we want the end of the jewelry tag to be in the front. So we're going to go ahead and just cut that out. And I've got a really tiny piece of paper here. You know what? I think I'm going to go ahead and redo that just so that we can see what it really should look like, because I did not do a very good job on that. That's a good thing to see. Okay, so we're going to do this again. Got a little bit more space. Get a little bit bigger piece of paper. And we have to get this lined up here. And I've got a little too big a piece of paper, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that down just a hair. And we're going to go ahead and cut that out, or punch that out. There we go. And now we've got our little tag finally made that says thanks so much. You look at how cute and teeny it is. So we're going to actually get the twine around this. So now you'll see why I've already started a hole here, because it's very hard to take this little tiny tag and start wrapping around it. So now that you've got your hole, you just simply set your tag on top of that hole, or that lasso, I guess I want to say. And you want to start pulling. And now you've got that around the tag. And then I just go ahead and I'm going to knot it just to make sure it stays on there real good. One more time. And there we go. So now you've got that on there. And that's much easier to do it that way. Put it around something. And like I said, the piercer is the perfect size. And plus it has this rough edge, so the twine doesn't slip off of it, which is really great, or the thread. Okay, so we'll get this out of our way. So now all we have to do is apply another little small Stampin' Dimensional. I'm just going to take a little piece, And go ahead and put that on the back of our tag. And we're going to make this look like it's hanging from the pumpkin. And there you go. So sweet and so easy. See you next time, Stampers. Bye-bye.